if you go to a convention, you're basically, by law, required to wear as much red, white, and blue and sparkle as you possibly manage without falling over. Okay, that's right. So the first part you need to know about conventions is there's three main functions. So number one, you elect delegates and alternates to the next level. Number two, you pass resolutions that might be considered in the platform. And then number three, you may or may not be making party rules, okay? So the first thing you can go to is your precinct convention. Well, really, the first thing you got to do is go vote in the primary. Amen. Okay? Yes. If you don't vote in the Republican primary, and if you're not in that party, then you can just leave the room right now. But anyway, if you want to go to your precinct convention, or really any other convention for that matter, you got to vote in the primary election. That seems like common sense, but you'd be surprised how many calls we got at the state party about this very thing. But anyway, your first step is your precinct convention. And let me just tell you, you can count yourself lucky if more than you and a relative connected to you by blood or marriage shows up, okay? I mean, my biggest one was me, my mom, and a lady down the street from our church. That may be a little different in Dallas County, I don't know. But no, it's not. So you go to your precinct convention, and here's a little pro tip. You don't actually have to go. You just have to make sure somebody who is going put your name in to be elected as a delegate or alternate. So that's really the key. Bribe somebody to get your name in at the very least. Then once you go to your county or Senate district convention after that, and if there is one thing that we have learned from the last election cycle, it is that there are 254 counties in the state of Texas. Yeah. Well, every county does a little bit differently. Like here in Dallas County, y'all have Senate district conventions because you have more than one Senate district in your county. But the process of how you go about doing things is a little odd. Like for example, in Williamson County, when I moved down to Austin, I decided to buy a house there. The number one stipulation was it could not be in Travesty County. Okay? I was not going to pay property taxes to the People's Republic of Travis County. So I'm literally the furthest south you can get and still be in Williamson County, okay? And I'd only been there about 4 months, and I was like, okay, time to sign up to be a delegate, right? So I go to the party website, and there's a 2-page application. I thought, okay, I can fill that out, no problem. What have you done? What groups are you involved with? And then there was an interview process with a 15-panel group of people that decided to ask you about your Republican activities. And I thought, oh my gosh, I work at the state party, and I don't know if I'm qualified to be a delegate. But I went in the room, and it's like, there's some people from TFRW, there's some people I know from this group, that group, so it wasn't too bad. But it was just very, very different than my first experience in Amarillo, Texas, when I was in college, right? I showed up. You're from Amarillo? That is so rare. Go Buffs. That's right. Oh, she's a team. That's okay. We're both like cattle, Anyway, so I went to my first party event, and they said, well, your precinct chair spot is filled, but we'll make you party secretary. I was like, great, I can take minutes. There's actually a lot more to that job, but I didn't know that at the time. And they said, by the way, we need some help on committees. We want you on rules, resolutions, and nominations. I'm a hot dog, I'll do it. Little did I know. Some counties, the smaller ones, it's like pulling teeth to be on it. Other counties, it's like people are punching teeth out to get on the committee. So, everything's a little bit different. But there, when we did the nominations process, we got the list from 2 years ago, and we started at the top. Hey, Joe Adair, how you doing? How's your mom and them? Yeah, good. Well, convention's coming up, and it's in Houston in May this time. Yeah, you going? Great, how about your wife? Okay, and now, don't I recall you had a daughter who turned 18, she voted this year? Okay, great. And is your mother-in-law still with us? Oh, perfect. We'll put you down for 4. See you there, Joe. And then we just moved to the next name on the list that's still alive, So it's just very different, very different. So once you get elected by whatever means to the state convention, there's a few things you need to know. Not only do you have to have your bling, but you need a survival kit. And if you could see it, you'd see my camouflaged NRA duffel bag right here. And I kind of ran out of room to put stuff, so we'll just make this work. very first thing you need in your survival kit, at least one pair of comfy shoes. In fact, I'd probably recommend 2 so they can like rub your feet in different places each time. Amen. No night. This part of tonight's program brought to you by Blister Band-Aid for all your blistering needs. Trust me, they're worth having. I've made lifelong friendships over having Band-Aids at a convention. And then, of course, it's going to be cold at some point, so you need some sort of scarf or cardigan. But then, of course, it'll be blistering hot at other portions because it is Houston. I recommend I'm a fan of Dr. Donna Campbell fan, a Republican woman. Actually, this feels pretty good right now. Now, if you really want to win friends and influence people, you make sure you not only have your power cord, but you get a 6-footer, okay? And then you make sure that you label it so nobody else can claim that it's theirs. Because friendships have been lost over the fact that people did not have a charging brick, okay? That's okay, we'll pick it up later. But now, she's out of them now, but I will make a plug. TFRW used to have these handy-dandy little charging bricks for your phone. See, I have a bag of charging bricks because this ain't my first rodeo, okay? I mean, literally. The only reason the state convention before last function was because Cassie was smart enough to bring not only power banks and extra cords, but a power strip. That's when you're a real power broker there, let me tell you. You will be everyone's best friend if you have a power strip. Now, another random thing you'd think, well, duh, everybody's got one of those. A pen and a pencil. I know, it sounds silly. I mean, they could be shaped like Texas, but, you know, not everybody's that cool. But the reason you need a pen and a pencil is because once we have to do a secret ballot voting, they have to count the ballots, pass them out. The one pen makes it down the 25 people to cast their vote. Then we have to take up all those little slips of paper, count all the little slips of paper, sort all the little slips of paper, count the sorted slips of paper, and then recount them to make sure we got the numbers right. Oh, look, we have a runoff. We do the whole thing again, okay? So just do everybody a favor and bring a pen. You know, I honestly believe state convention would probably shave an entire day off if people could bring a pen and learn where to point it over. Now, the reason the pencil's important is because we started doing plank by plank voting in the platform, right? Fights have broken out over the lack of an eraser on your pencil, okay? They give you the little golf pencils. And at plank 432, you realize you got lost on plank 5. So they're all run off. And you haven't eaten or drank anything for like 8 hours. And they lock that room and you can't leave until your Scantron's complete. It's like taking an ACT all over again, you know? So I'm just telling you, get the eraser. It's like $1, okay? In fact, if you're running for office, that could be your sponsorship item. Now, speaking of food and water, that's another thing you actually need to bring. Okay, here's a Texas-sized bottle for you. And a snack, right? The last convention I worked, see, I had a lot of good stories there. It's amazing. Y'all pulled one off without me, James. I'm just kidding. No, but the last convention I worked, I hadn't eaten anything since I left the room at 6 o'clock that morning. And it was 7 p.m. at night. Whoa. We were doing the national delegate meeting, and I was like, I'm about to faint. And I was putting the paperwork out on the lectern, and like manna from heaven, there was an unopened bottle of water and the smallest bag of cheesy Doritos you've ever seen. But I'm telling you, I ate like a queen because I was like, thank you, Jesus. I wasn't going to make it. So, once you get selected past the state convention, you go to the national convention. Hold on. There we go. Has anybody here ever been to a national convention? So, okay. Just laugh with the jokes anyway, okay? So I actually did get selected. It was a huge honor to be an alternate at large to the convention in Florida. And they're like, Cassie, you've been selected. What are you going to do now? And I'm like, I'm going to Disney World. And we did. After we survived the hurricane, we survived the transportation debacle that was Florida. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. And then we went to Disney World afterwards. So I also meant I had to buy extra luggage because we bought so many souvenirs. We had this grand plan to ship them back in the mail. You know, it's like, that's brilliant. Except it was Labor Day. And the guy I was dating at the time, who was my guest for the convention, had already flown. So I had all the stuff. So I go over to the nearest mall and I buy like 3 suitcases. And so I'm walking around the Florida airport with my cowboy hat and 6 suitcases of crap. And luckily people were nice and helped me, move them around a bit. I spent more money on that trip just shipping the luggage home than we did on anything else. But anyway, National Convention is a lot of fun. In fact, in Cleveland, I wasn't just working at that time for the party to help all the delegates and alternates have a good time. And somebody said, I don't think it's very fair that certain people get to sit in the front few rows at every session on the floor. And I said, well, I don't know. Let me ask, And so I said, hey, is there a reason? They said, oh yeah, these people have to sit in the front few rows. And I'm okay. And so afterwards I said, well, is there like a party rule, or is there like some function of the convention that they have to sit in the first few rows? And he goes, well, Cassie, it is imperative that we have experienced hat wavers in the first few rows. I was like, excuse me? He goes, hat wavers. We got to have experienced hat wavers representing the state of Texas in the front few rows. So later I went up to a different friend and I was like, so are there like choreography or something like to become an experienced hat waver? I mean, I was a drum major, do ballroom dancing, something, and like there's got to be something to it, right? He goes, oh, well, there's the tutu. Takes his hat off. Okay, the tutu. I get why I'm saying that. 1, 2, 2, 2. Are there any more? No, that's it. I'm like, one move? Well, later that day, I'm standing in the concession line waiting for my $10 hot dog and $5 bottle of water. But what do I see on the monitor on Fox News? A first-time National Convention delegate from Texas doing the tutu. Now, granted, it wasn't as snappy, but he figured it out, And I'm kind of like, I'm a capitalist, so like, I think we're from Texas and we really ought to represent our state if we're going to do it right, I mean, everybody wants to take a picture with us. You got the flag shirt on, you pick us out in the crowd, mainly because we're like the largest delegation there, But it's like, let's really make this something. But like I said, being a capitalist, I'm going to monetize it. Howdy, y'all! Are you ready to represent the great state of Texas at the National Convention? Are you wanting to become a certified, experienced hat waver? Well, now's your chance. Cassie's Classy Hat Choreography. That's right, for only 5 easy payments of $20.20. You too can become a certified, experienced hat waver. In fact, you'll learn the Texas Howdy. You'll also get the inside scoop on the secret wrist action of the tutu. We'll even throw in the John Travolta. And for our German folks, we got the Oompa. Maybe you like that classic look of the Temptations and learn the scoot and scoot. Political ad paid for by Cassie's Classy Hat Choreography. Results not guaranteed, proficiency not required. No refunds, and possible side effects can include hat hair, excessive state pride, and a spontaneous and uncontrollable set of jazz hands.